So as I look at it, and it's the same with when I look at the Milwaukee Bucks. Like Chris Middleton, as good as he might have been, he wasn't good enough as a 2 to win a championship until you added Drew Holiday.
Okay. Yep.
And when I look at how they won that championship, there are instances where I'd say Drew Holiday, if not the true number 2, was the second best player on that team in winning the championship.
Disagree.
Which allowed Chris Middleton to be up and down, to give you like a great performance and then be off in another performance because you had that steadying influence. I'd even say that with the Boston Celtics. Like, do you have a true number 2? We're still debating who the number 1 is, right? So I believe that the template for winning a championship has changed, and that it really doesn't come down to having a certain number 1 and a certain number 2. If you look at the championship teams of the last few years, like I go back to Jamal Murray, offensively can give you bigger performance and has given you bigger performance in recent times than Kyrie has overall, right? But Jamal Murray, people are attacking him defensively all the time, and Kyrie showed outside, even in this series, but particularly outside of this series, he can be a very good defender. He's a much better he's been the best two-way player that I've ever seen him be. So you make a very compelling point. I mean, I actually love it because it does raise that question in terms of where we put Kyrie as a number 2 at this stage. But my answer is yes, you can win with him as the number 2 if the number 1 is better and you find a number 3.
And I'm going to say this real quick. So you touched on it a little bit, Paul, is that Luka was not that great this finals. He was not, right? No. On defense, couldn't stop anybody. No hustle, no effort, none of that. So as much as you want to blame Kyrie for not delivering as the number 2, our number 1 didn't show up either, though. Sure. And he was the weakest link on the court. The other team's game plan, wherever their best player is, who was Luka, we going at him. Like, mentally, that has to strike you a certain way, like,
And they didn't go at Kyrie.
And they didn't go at Kyrie. And another thing is, offensively, you ever watch now this is the whole playoffs. You ever watch the Mavericks, right? And Luka is dribbling the hell out that ball. Yeah. Now, to his right, he can do that because he is that good, right? But you ever see times where Kyrie get a little spark going on, right? And you're like, dang, I want to see more of that. Nope, the ball goes back to Luka. You ever see where, like, man, maybe I should go to Kyrie a little bit more. Maybe give him a couple more possessions. I've been like that. I've seen that. I've been like, why not give Kyrie maybe a couple more possessions to get the ball and get going? Let the offense run through him a little bit. So when you talking about him not, playing as well, I think some of that has to do with the rhythm. A lot of times when I watch the Mavericks, I'm like, won't Jason, better yet, Jason Kidd said this. He said, typically in the second half, Kyrie gets going, right? He lets Luka do his thing. He said, but I want Kyrie to start getting going earlier. So when he said that, I'm like, he's right, because I feel the same way. Yeah. There needs to be a time for these 2 ball-dominant players, right? Because Kyrie's learning how to play without the ball, right? He had to with Luka.
Right.
There needs to be some times where Kyrie Irving needs to go 3, 4, 5 possessions of just letting him run, get comfortable. One-on-ones, pick and rolls. The same way they do with Luka. So when you ask him about these questions with Kyrie Irving, some of that to me is, I think, the rhythm and him not having a lot of offensive possessions. Because if you look at the way he shoots the ball, he ain't shooting the ball a lot either, though. That's another thing we can talk about. You watch Luka, he's putting that ball up over and over again, where Kyrie's not shooting the ball as much. And in any sport, when you getting more comfortable, more carries, more catches, more passes, you're a better player.
In the rhythm, yeah.
The thing, though, for me is, like, Kyrie tried. Let's not get it twisted. Like, Kyrie's not the scorer that Luka is. He's just not. Since Kyrie came into the league after his first year, the lowest points per game he's had is 27.7.
That's the highest.
That's the lowest. He had 33 this year. After his rookie year, Luka Doncic.
Oh, you're talking about Luka,
not Kyrie.
Kyrie's highest.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making. Kyrie's highest is Luka's lowest. Yeah. Kyrie's ceiling is Luka's floor as it pertains to scoring offensively.
Who's shooting the ball?
Of course, I'm sure.
That matters too, though.
Of course, Luka's shooting more. But if it's you or me and we need to go get a bucket, I want Luka to go get the bucket.
But I'm saying, say that again.
Kyrie's highest points per game in the season is Luka's lowest. Yeah. So, of course,
and what are we saying Kyrie Irving is right now? A number 2, of course. So why are we even trying to compare him to a number 1? Right. The number 1 days we can say for Kyrie is sure over. A number 2 with what you're saying right now, who wouldn't take that? That's all I'm saying.
And Luka shoots that ball.
No question.
On, man.
Let me. We had this question several shows ago, but I'm wondering what your answer is now, because mine remains the same in terms of the duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum versus Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Take everything else away, right? Just those two versus those two.
I want the math.
I've switched.
Mine hasn't changed.
Well,
I would still go with Luka and Kyrie.
Me too.
Because if you gave me, imagine if you gave me Luka and Kyrie with Derek White, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Al Horford. Goodness gracious.
But here's how things change, though. Things change because what was beautiful about the Celtics is none of their players were getting beat off the dribble at oftentimes. If you put Luka back on the Celtics, Luka's getting beat off the dribble. So now D. White has to come help.
You got no more defenders, though.
You do.
You can hide him a little bit more.
You do, but still at the point in which the Celtics have spacing. So if you take the Celtics and you play the Celtics with Luka and Kyrie, and Luka gets beat off the dribble, everybody now is one person short. Everybody's now scrambling.
Okay, but that's defensively. But offensively, if I got Luka and Kyrie with all those floor spacers, and I get to operate in that,
But here's why I would switch my answer is because to Shady's point earlier on 10 minutes ago is I'm now valuing defense more, and shame on me for having not in the first place. If you give me JB and you give me JT, you give me two players who will always play with effort, who do not complain to the refs, who are always running, who are uber athletic, who can give you 20 to 30 any game, and who can also D up anybody from the 1 to the 4. So now I actually care about that. Whereas you give me Luka and Kyrie, Luka's a liability defensively, and though Kyrie has played better defensively, Kyrie's not an elite defender. He's just elite for himself. Come on,
he's solid. So this is my thing. When I watch all the games, especially the finals, like Luka sticks out to me from his effort and defense.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So Kyrie, maybe he's not the greatest defender, right? I mean, he ain't getting picked on, but it's like when I watch Luka, like it's times when like you stick out.
Okay, but you know what? It's difficult to make this case, particularly because I know it's 1-on-3 here, but we have made way too much of Luka's defense. It has not been consistent.
No.
But if we talk about what he's capable of, like there are times where Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they tried to go at him and they couldn't get it done. Now it wasn't consistent. So to me, Luka has to get in better shape so he can be consistent.
Right.
But I don't think he's this turnstile that we've made him out to be. Like it's impossible to play good defense with Luka Doncic on the floor because the Dallas Mavericks have done it. They did it getting to the finals, and they did it at times. I agree with the consistency.
What about off the ball? Like, what about times when the freaking rebounds right next to you, and you don't do no hustling?
I agree, but that is effort and energy.
Bro, that's bullcrap. I don't care, tired or not. One thing about being an athlete, when you have nothing left, you find a way to get it done. I know we all been there. Like, how the hell did I do that? I know I was dead tired. But out of all the superstars y'all telling me we watch from day in and day out, you telling me when we watch all these dudes, especially in the finals, he sticks out more than anybody.
But that's a mindset.
No effort, no attitude, none of that. You fall on the ground, you stay on the ground. They come in, they score, they come back. You just getting up.
But Shady, don't you think that's fatigue, big dog? You've been there. I'm saying I've been in a situation where you see a fumble on the ground. Yeah. And coach is like, hey, Acho, why didn't you get to it? And I'm sitting here like, coach, it's a 12-play drive, G. Like, I was going to get there. That's crazy. But the other dude got there faster than
we in the final. You know what's crazy? We talking like this, and we in the finals.
Yep.
I agree with you, but
to me, it's all a mindset. Luka has never been good at defense. At times, does he show you, yes, he can stay in front of nobody, but consistently, he has never been good at defense. That is a mindset. When he takes the basketball court, his mindset is not, I'm going to stop the best player like JB and them boys. His mindset ain't, I'm going to give the most effort on defense. His mindset is, I'm going to score the basketball. So that's why you get this switch that he's flipping on and off, because he's not built like that mentally.
Is Steph Curry a great defender? Is Steph Curry a great defender?
He's gotten better. He's gotten better.
Okay, but they still go at him too, right? Yep. But what's one thing he's going to give you, though?
Effort.
He'll give you effort.
Okay, but that wasn't always the case. And I'll bring it up again.
But when
LeBron James went to the finals in 2007, he was not a good defender. LeBron James became a good defender. He began to care about playing good defense.
But here's the thing I don't think enough people are talking about, though. My thought process is, let's be honest about Luka, as great as he is offensively. Luka's probably the least athletic guard superstar since the turn of the century.
But I'm not having him guard.
But my problem is
he's
when
6'7", 230.
But when you talk about LeBron, when you talk about Braun, Slick, when you talk about Jimmy Butler, when you talk about give me any other guard you want to, these are dudes that got 40-inch verts. These are dudes that are, I don't know, basketball equivalents that would be 4'4", 4'3", 4'5" guys. Like, these are elite windmill dunking kind of dudes. Luka's not a freak athlete.
Let me ask you this.
So of course he's gonna get beat off the dribble mindset or not.
Let me ask you this though, okay? Because now you're like an athletic thing. So what's your answer for when he's not guarding on ball, right? And he's away from the ball, and a guy, his man just cuts through, easy pass dunk. Mindset. Okay. What about when a ball's on the left side, and he's on the right side, and he shoots the ball. The guy shoots the ball instead of